So I would request Mr. Subramanian to please come and make his presentation on implementing cybersecurity in the cloud. Mr. Subramanian is the founder and director of Cloud Computing Security Alliance. He is a cloud evangelist who believes the future of computing is the cloud. He is the founder director of Cloud Security Alliance Mumbai and is the president of NISE, which is an advisory firm. Some of the organizations where he has worked include Hewlett-Packard, Mirant, NCDEX, CRISIL, Exchange Next, Sasol, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, KPIT Cummins, Microland, Wealth Advisors, and Mahindra Group companies. So without wasting any more time, over to you, sir.
So today's agenda, I'll first introduce you to what Cloud Security Alliance is. So those of you who have not gone to the Cloud Security Alliance website can go and see what we do there and how we can help you. And then we will talk about the security guidance for critical areas of focus in cloud computing, version 3. There were earlier 2 more versions. This is the current version. I will just talk on the key points. You can then download the PDF and read it for yourself. And I'll also talk about 2 cybersecurity solutions in the cloud. There are other solutions too. So I'm just using these as a placeholder. Okay. And that will be my 30-minute pitch. Okay. So what is Cloud Security Alliance? It's a global not-for-profit organization and it is virtually connected right across the world. Okay, Mumbai being the largest Cloud Security Alliance chapter in the world. We have more than 400 plus members and significantly contributing to various domains of cloud security. Okay, and best practices. So agile philosophy, championing, enable innovation. Most important thing of cloud is Cloud Security Alliance, CSA as we call it, is to promote use of best practices for providing security assurance within cloud computing and provide education on the uses of cloud computing to help secure all forms of cloud. And I think that's what the title means, because you're not only securing your cloud deployment but also using the cloud to protect yourself. Okay. So these are some of the key things which are happening. The security guidance is what I'll be talking about. What is important, those who want to get certified, we also have the CCSK exam, which at least makes sure that you have understood the CSA standards, the ENISA standards. It's quite an easy exam for those of you who are already in the security space, and it's good to have one more certification so that whoever is your customers or whoever you are servicing are confident that you know what you're doing. Okay. So how do they build a trusted cloud? Strategy, education, security framework, and all the cloud SIRT, CCSK, CCM, CA, all the documentation available, checklist for vendor selection, for your own security implementation, free templates available on the Cloud Security Alliance, which you can use as a guidance and modify it for your own requirement. Okay. Of course, like all good security, the foundation is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. CSA follows the same model. Now version 3 has 14 domains. To understand cloud first, for anybody who is new to the business, this is the old NIST model which has been around for a while. You need to understand the architecture because for any security you need to know what to protect first, right? So this is the 3 layers, the essential characteristics, the delivery models and the deployment models where you need to protect. I'm sure this is a very old slide, it's been around for many years, but I think this diagram clearly captures the essence of cloud model. If you're not in all the boxes here, you're not actually in the cloud. Many people virtualize and they think they're in the cloud, but you should have measured service, rapid elasticity, on demand, which means self-service, etc. Okay. So the same thing in a different view, where we have infrastructure as a service, platform, and software shown in a different perspective. What you need to understand is the complexity of security as you go further down changes. In SaaS, your complexity of securing is the least. Suppose you're using Google Apps. All the security, DR, all the factors are taken care of by Google. Google gives you some tools of encryption, gives you a few security tools which you can do at your level when you control the application. Same thing with Microsoft. If you use Windows 365 Live, the SaaS, everything is taken care of. Security is not a concern. The minute you come to platform as a service, there is more responsibility on you in securing that upper stack, which is the application stack. Okay. And as you come to infrastructure security as a service, then I think it's much more for you to do because you have to protect the infrastructure itself. So the skill sets required and the cost of securing yourself is higher as you move down this chain. Okay. So most cloud adoption today, you will see, as McKinsey had shown in the slide, is happening in the SaaS space very aggressively, which gives you very quick returns because you don't have the overheads of security and compliance. Okay? Today you get SaaS solutions which are HIPAA compliant, PCI DSS compliant. They're already compliant. So if you are in a particular segment which needs a HIPAA or a PCI DSS, you have the solution on SaaS, which means you don't even build the application, you don't worry about security. The minute you want to put the existing applications into a platform, it becomes more complex. Security is a key driver, and beyond that, into infrastructure. Okay? So we will go through each of the guidance domains. I will touch on it briefly. I have just 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but you need to understand the essence of it. For those of you who are doing security for years, security is not new. Some of the guidance is the same as what you would do in a physical infrastructure or as it is today, but this is captured. Okay. First, of course, which I explained to you, you need to know the cloud architecture. What is the cloud architecture? Which we explained, the three models now, SaaS, PaaS, and the three layers. Okay. The next aspect is the next five are governing the cloud. This is all to do with IT governance. One of the important things in securing the cloud, one individual cannot do it. It is not possible for you to have all the skill sets. So you need to map in various skill sets to get the governance in the cloud right. Okay. So the first is what we call GRC, governance in enterprise risk management. Can your business afford to go in the cloud? You will have to do the risk analysis. All businesses cannot go to the cloud. One is the whole risk, what the business does. The second is also the compliance. Because suppose you are a stock exchange, then you have to follow SEBI compliance. SEBI has to, or SEC in the US, they have to understand what the cloud compliance is all about, and they have to give you the compliance for that. Those standards may not exist. Same thing for others. Okay? So the enterprise risk management is you first of all see whether your business can go to the cloud. All businesses may not be able to go to the cloud. Or you may have to choose a private cloud. You may not be able to go to a public cloud. Right? Like Citibank has built a private cloud because the banking regulation doesn't allow them to go public. Okay? The second and the most important is nothing to do with technology, but is to use with your legal advice. Because there are so many fine prints and laws, especially on interoperability of data, loss of data, outage of services. So contracts and electronic discovery. Electronic discovery means who owns your data finally. Suppose you hosted your data in the US, right? Then US government law says that your data is accessible to the US government for anything they want, right? So whatever your business data, as per US laws, the Amazon or whoever it is has to give it to the US government. So you need to understand that electronic discovery piece very well, okay? And the contractual piece, what happens if there is an Amazon outage? So what's the liability? How do you secure, what will happen to the business? Are you going to get compensated, etc.? Most cloud contracts used to be one-sided, but they're getting better by the day. But that's where you need help. It's nothing to do with technology. It's more to do with service level delivery, uptime, and legal. The fourth is the compliance and audit management. Most often you're not allowed to go and do an audit of the cloud center, so you will have to trust the auditors. Okay. Most of the US cloud service providers like Amazon or others, Rackspace, are already SOX compliant because without that they cannot get companies in. Okay. So in terms of security, they are extremely secure, but again you have to see your ability to absorb risk, whether a SOX compliant cloud security provider is good enough, and or is there anything else you need to do, because most times, and also the endpoint device who's going to audit that, that becomes your responsibility and not the cloud service providers. Okay. I host at a cloud service provider my own website, and there was some spamming. It happens because my machine was compromised, and they shut down my mail immediately. Now that is the amount of compliance I want from my service provider. He actually shut down my mail service, right? And I appreciated him for it because they are watching. They said spamming is not our policy. Okay. And so then I had to change the passwords, do whatever was required, and I got it back. So the compliance and audit management has to be strong in your cloud service provider. There is no use giving it to a data center who has virtualized and said they are on the cloud, because the rest of this piece may be missing. Okay. The fifth is the information management and data security. So the storms of the information lifecycle management. Can you trust one cloud service provider? Should you have your data on a second cloud service provider? How do you do it? What is the cost? How do you synchronize it in real time? These are some of the challenges which you learn in information management and data security. Because in the cloud we don't move tapes, we don't move any media, it's all digitally moving. And how do you move it? How do you synchronize it real time? Okay. The sixth one, which is a very contentious issue, is interoperability and portability, especially in the SaaS. Many SaaS cloud providers earlier days would not allow you to take out the data. Right? Even now, if you use Salesforce.com, they have one year lock-in before you get your data. Okay, so you have to read that legal part well, the fine print. I have nothing against Salesforce.com; it's a fantastic solution. But their costing model is 1 year you have to use this before you get the data. So you need to be aware of it. Okay. So what happens is you put your company data, you put your business data there, you should be able to pull it out. Not only that, after you pull it out, you should be able to make sure you can migrate it to another application. So when you do the choice of your vendor, you will have to take care of this risk. Okay, and this is the important piece. Okay, whether especially in the SaaS space. Okay, will Google give back my data? Suppose I have 5 years of email. Do I have the media to keep that data, which I'm using on Google Apps or even on Live 365? Someday you may want to pull it down and change the service provider. So that is some of the questions this addresses, this domain. Okay. Now comes the operations part of it. Many people think it's a black box and we don't have to worry. But suppose like HCL, you're running a cloud data center, then the operations is part of your thing. Or if you decide to build a private cloud like the Maharashtra government, then I think this whole operations track applies to you. Okay. So you have all that you learned in traditional security, BCM, DR, all of that is mapped here. And you need to have processes. The second most important is data center operations. How many outages have been there in Amazon in 10 years? Anybody knows? Anybody is following? How many times Twitter didn't work for you in this last year? How many times Facebook didn't work for you? They're all on Amazon. There are outages in the cloud. Okay? Some of the outages are because of data center operations. Right? One of the big Amazon outages happened because in the data center operation, the resource has not properly trained in the process. And the whole thing went down and there was a lot of angst. And of course, anything which happens in the cloud fortunately makes it to the headlines worldwide. Unlike traditional data centers, because in traditional data centers, the business protects its reputation loss, so nothing comes in the press. Right? Do you think banks' data centers don't go down? They do go down, but you will not hear about it. Okay? But anything on the cloud is immediately broadcast. Okay? So there is a huge reputation risk when you do data center operations, and this is a very specialized area. Okay? 9. What do you do in incident response? Suppose the Chinese want to bring down the India cloud or the HCL cloud. What do you do? How do you know the Chinese are attacking you or some other hostile country? You have no clue. So you need tools for that. And then what do you do when that incident happens? How do you restore it? How do you put it back? So these are challenges for you, especially if you're in the real-time or in the e-commerce space. The happiest thing, the person who won the award today for his competition is to do a DDoS attack on his site or similar and bring it down, right? The reputation risk is Snapdeal, you don't get, right? So how do you, incident response is one of the applications I'll talk about in the second one, because this is becoming a key issue today. We all know how to secure because we build some of the best ports in the world, right? So we know how to be in the fortress and real-time protection. But what to do when the hordes of Mughals came in or whoever came in, Persians or whoever attacked us, we were not ready for that because we thought we were very secure. The same thing is happening in the cyber world today. You don't know who is attacking from where, okay? And which PC has been compromised to be used for the attack. Because the simultaneous attack of about 5,000, 10,000 PCs which have been compromised. And unfortunately in India we want free software, we want free security software, we want everything free. Right? So we are the most vulnerable countries in the world. That you can read the statistics. So coming back to your cloud thing, what do you do in incident response? How do you handle it? Even if you are using a cloud service provider, you need to have an incident response team and what has to be done, the decisions that we take. 10th is especially if you are using platform or infrastructure, how do you do the application security? How do you build applications for the cloud? The architecture is different from application for a traditional LAN. So how do you secure those applications? What tools will you use to secure those applications? Right? How do you lock your databases? How do you make sure the scripts are not open? And how do you make there are no trojans put in because of some disgruntled program, which is an old one. But there are newer problems in application security. Because if you didn't secure your applications and somebody came into the cloud service provider, then you compromise your application and you compromise your whole delivery. Okay? The 11th one, all of us do encryption and key management. Where do you keep the keys? Do you keep the keys in the cloud? Do you keep it offsite? Do you keep it in your laptop? Where is the key? We all know about key compromises, right? I don't know, it's not a security class. So this becomes a very focused area, encryption and key management. So that is why the SaaS becomes very easy, because Google gives you encryption and key. You don't worry what Google does, you know, and you pay $50 a year, you're up and running, right? But when you have to do it for your own cloud, then there's a huge cost to encryption and key management. There's a whole process you have to put in place for that. Okay, so this 11th guidance talks about encryption and key management. The 12th is who's getting into the cloud. Cloud is a 2-password step, right? User ID, password, you're there, right? Google, how many steps? 2 steps. Then you remember the password in the browser, you're on, anytime, anywhere. Now the problem is identity and access management for corporates become very severe issue, right? Including a laptop like this or any device, mobile device. Who's using that mobile device, right? So you may have to invest. With mobility becoming big, you'll have to invest on a third-party tool which will erase all the data the minute the mobile is lost. Within minutes, not within hours, right? So this identity and access management is a vertical by itself where you need specialized skills on how to do it. Okay? Everybody thinks they can put in VMware and forget about it, it will run beautifully. Okay, it is not true. VMware requires certification, VMware requires people who understand what's happening. How many of you have lost data in VMware? Anybody here? But there are people who have lost data in VMware. VMware does go down. Okay? And there are nothing against VMware. You can also do it on Zen. You can do it on other solutions. But virtualization is again, you don't know what it is doing because the whole backend is phenomenally automated. So when you want to recover data, things go bad, then all hell breaks loose. Okay, so you need to be mentally prepared and understand what can go wrong first, and that's what this guidance is for. So you need to be aware of what is going wrong and how to secure yourself from such an incident if it ever happens. So there's a whole thing on virtualization, how to manage virtualization, etc. in the cloud, and the whole cloud is on virtualization. Right? So that domain talks about that. The last one, which is very popular and I think will be a big growth driver for Indian IT service companies, is software, security as a service. Just like how we were giving infrastructure management as a service, IMS, many companies like HCL, Microland in Bangalore, even IBM for that matter, HP, they have huge captive centers which give infrastructure management. The same thing today will morph into security as a service, where you will have skilled people, so you can outsource this whole stack to somebody to implement and take care of your security if you don't have that scale of operation in the cloud. So you will see a huge set of tools emerging. Tools are already coming as security as a service. You will also see services coming up. Actually, HP gives those services now. Dell has started. So everybody gives you security as a service now. This also gives you a guidance on how to do it. If you are hosting with IBM, would you prefer giving security as a service to IBM or you would give it to a second vendor? Ideally, you should give it to a second vendor. Right? So that you de-risk yourself from one vendor. So all that strategy is there in this domain. These are the 14 domains of Cloud Security Alliance. This is a small, crisp, I think 78 or 96 or 100-page PDF document. You can download it free. Those who are interested can read the 14 domains and understand in detail. Okay, but that will help you on your cloud journey because it explains you the architecture. All these risks are there which you need to be aware of. Okay, okay. The plus side is, like they said, 80% cost saving, all that is fantastic, but there is a downside risk which you have to consider. Okay. So CSA and Trend Micro for Asia Pacific have a partnership. So CSA and Trend Micro funds a lot of CSA events, okay, in the APAC region, etc. So training, certification, etc. So if you want, you can always contact Trend Micro for help. Okay. So I'll now talk about the two solutions. One, I talk about Trend Micro. McAfee also has got the similar solutions, so have others. But for this illustration, I just use Trend Micro because they are a partner of CSA. Okay. First of all, I have to understand who has got control where. This diagram puts it in a very different perspective. The end user, traditionally you had servers, you had a local area, wide area network. You owned everything, you had control over everything. And the traditional CIO, CTO is not willing to let go of that control and trust to a third party. That has been one of the big barriers for cloud adoption, right? Because he has his team, he or she has his team, trusted people to do it, and one feels very secure, okay? But today, as you get into hybrid clouds, these end servers become the weakest point for security, okay? So you have to start from the end security. Then the challenges of virtualization and private cloud, which many Indian companies are at this point of evolution. So they need to secure that. They think they have control, but they need to understand more. Then some of them are moving in a hybrid cloud. Either they move it on a public cloud, virtualized, or they could go with any of those cloud combinations as a SaaS, PaaS, or SaaS. For example, if you are on Salesforce.com as SaaS, and then you want to map Salesforce into your internal ERP, say SAP, which is in-house, then you will need to do a hybrid cloud integration. So what their challenge is there. So you need somebody who protects you right across the space. Okay? Or you could use a bouquet of products to do it. But you need to understand what needs to be secured. Okay? So on one side is the enterprise data center as we know it. Okay? And the cloud service provider. So both of them need to be secure. There are three components to be secured in this. One is the end device itself, in this case the cloud console or a mobile device or a phone or a laptop or a desktop, whatever device you're using. Then your own data center. Then the network in between which connects you on the internet, that has to be secure. And at the end of it, the cloud service provider and his security also has to be done. So it is a huge exercise in terms of securing yourself. Okay? So this gives you a better perspective of that data center, public sector. The deep security sits in between and it secures your cloud applications below, your public cloud data center interface. So this is what the tool does. Okay? So the data is always encrypted and sent across. Okay? So you have to understand the complexity of applying security on the cloud. Okay? And you need to have a strategy. Along with your cloud adoption strategy, you need to also have a cloud security strategy together. Otherwise, I think you will be in tears or without a job, one of the two. Or your business may just not be there. Okay? This is the second solution known as CNAM. So this is the one which proactively tells you are under attack, which is the biggest challenge today. The first challenge you could somehow fix by getting a tool from Trend Micro or similar company, McAfee or others. But how do you know that you are under attack? Right? So you need somebody watching all the time from where the IPs are originating, where the attacks are originating, which part of the world for which you need to use big data. You need to have that heuristics with you, you need to have the signatures with you, and you have to need much more stuff, which really is no sense in you building. So this is one of the security as a service solutions available today to protect your data center in the cloud or even your own data center. Okay. So this is the architecture where you have the logs, the integration detection device, correlation engine, which is written with its own algorithm for correlation. Then you get the alert events, and then you have your whole port scanning done. So right across the ecosystem, somebody is watching for you. How many? 5 more minutes? Okay. So somebody is watching for you all the time, and you will get an SMS if you are under attack or if you have to act. So really, you will get SMS or email immediately for you to act. So even if you are sleeping in the middle of the night, you will get informed and you can then start your incident response planning, whatever you have planned for this event. Okay. So this is the topology where you have a support partner watching if you want, or you can do it yourself, your choice. And then you have your site on top, and you have the CNAM engine. The CNAM engine is based on a private cloud. It uses extensive big data for correlation, okay, and algorithms. Okay, so that is why it uses cloud to run on. Okay, so you can get a real-time attack detection now by using it, and this is becoming very essential, especially if you are in the BFSI space. Right? You don't want your bank side to go down, you don't want your e-banking to go down, you don't want your e-trading to go down. So it's becoming, so that is one space where this will be extensively used. Or now mobile money coming in, mobile companies will have to use this, or depending on your business. And again, your need for security is based on your business risk. So depending on your evolution and what you're doing on the cloud, you can choose your security requirements. Okay? So acknowledge for everybody's pictures, logos, etc. CSA, NIST, and Trend Micro, Net Monastery. Okay. So any questions? Happy to take. I normally would have come between lunch and you, but I think my session was pretty long. Okay. So thank you.
Questions? We have time for a couple of questions, so please feel free. CSA is an organization, non-profit organization. Where is it registered?
It is registered in the US.
Okay.
Jim Reeves is the founder of Cloud Security Alliance. You need to join our group in LinkedIn first, the primary group, which is the CSA group. And subsequently, you will have a chapter in Delhi also. You can join the LinkedIn group. We all collaborate virtually. Like Mumbai chapter, we don't even have a bank account, nothing. It's all virtual collaboration. Okay.
So how to access the Delhi chapter of
you register with CSA LinkedIn group first, Cloud Security Alliance LinkedIn group. They will approve your registration. Then you can just apply to the chapter. There will be a chapter coordinator for the LinkedIn profile in Delhi. He will approve it. It is just a one-day process. It's not complex. Okay. More importantly, you should visit the Cloud Security Alliance site and then read these things which I talked about, because that is of phenomenal value to understand the risks and what you need to mitigate the risks. Now, And that awareness will come from cloud security.
What is the validation of the exam?
Validation of the exam is online. You just go to CCSK exam. I think it's $100. You choose a date, go in online and do it. And all the material for that is downloadable. Okay? There is this bulk of it is what I showed you, the 14 domains, which you already know. We have already done it before if you have been in this space. The second piece is the INISA guidelines, because Europe has got its own peculiar guidelines for data portability, etc. And INISA guidelines you need to understand. And I think there are one or two more documents. It's an easy exam. It's not like a CISSP exam or like a CISA exam. It's much easier. It's very cloud focused. But the idea is you know all the 14 domains and you are competent enough to take it. That's all the objective.
Online.
Excellent, sir.
Online exam.
Excellent, sir.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my name is Amit Tiwari and I'm from Think and See. So you have said about CNAM, which work on IP detection basis.
Yeah.
But so nowadays, email spoofing and IP spoofing is not a big deal. That can be done easily through any tool available freely.
Okay.
So is there any security higher than that, like MAC address verification or something like that?
I wouldn't know yet. It's so scary. Actually. That's
I'm
why
not
five more attacks would have happened somewhere. You need to see the guidelines which are available.
Sir, because IP spoofing is not a big deal.
Okay.
So just I want to confirm, is there any other technique through which we can secure?
No, I can't talk about it here. I can only talk how to secure yourself. I can't tell you how to unsecure somebody now or make somebody insecure. What you're asking is the other side of the story. I can't answer that. We'll take it offline, please.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
I can tell you how to secure yourself. Okay.
Hello sir, my name is Vijay Agrawal and I am from E9 Technologies. My question is, you have mentioned all the risks that are from outsider. What about the risk from inside?
No, inside of this comes in that IT governance is the first one. You are expected to have your own internal ISMS policy to start with. So you have an ISO 27000 plus that whole 28000, they are all expecting you to have if you have in-house data center. So when you come to the governance, all this is covered. Employee risk, all that is covered in that. If you read the document, I'm not touching on it because I assume when you come to a security, you have a basic baseline, there is a corporate security ISMS in place and above which you are building.
Right.
But that is covered in the first one itself.
Okay.
And these standards are actually pulled from ITIL standards for services. They are pulled from ISO 27000 standards for security, plus ISO 28000. So you will see that if you have read these standards, you'll see this is like a Wikipedia of all those standards put together. Okay, to apply to the cloud. So there is no new masala here. This is the old standards which you already knew, which are coming here but focused on cloud computing. So this what you're saying, employee, endpoint, device security is all there. If you read the standards are there, it is coming, it is not separately considered. Okay. Employee security, yes, agreed. Yeah.
Thank you sir.
Anybody else? Or I'm done. Yeah.
Is there any collaboration between ISACA and CSA?
Yes, ISACA and CSA have a collaboration and ISACA, okay, I have to talk about ISACA. I'm a member of ISACA also, I'm sorry. Today I represent CSA, yeah. There is a collaboration with CSA and ISACA. ISACA has published a number of white papers along with CSA, which you can find in the ISACA website. Okay, so yes, there is. And ISACA and CSA collaborate, HP and CSA collaborate, Microsoft and CSA, I mean the whole host of, you go to their website, you'll find everything. Okay. So we work, ISACA and CSA work together. They are complementary. Okay. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.